The amount of missiles being fired not only at the aircraft, and this is somewhat unprecedented, a manned F-16, but also at U.S. naval vessels in the Red Sea and in these key straits. It's only a matter of time before one hits and causes casualties, if not fatalities, and that is going to increase this conflict tenfold, I believe, if that were to happen. So yes, this is very concerning.
So to that point, are you able not to explain, but perhaps to illustrate the current American policy on that? Are we seeing any shift from the Biden administration to the Trump state of mind? What is the realm of possible policy change even?
So back in the Biden administration, there was this coalition that was put together to essentially ensure the passage and free flow of commercial vessels to the al-Mandeb and the Straits of Hormuz, and essentially so much of the world gets their energy supply from these regions. Not so much the United States, actually, but the United States led the coalition. And so there was a concerted effort to really degrade the Houthis' capacity to strike. Some would say it was not extensive enough, and there was many requests by Central Command, the U.S. military component that covers this region, that were not approved. It appears to me, including the redesignation of the Houthis as a terrorist organization by the new Trump administration, that they're going to take a stronger hand in fighting the Houthis should they continue to attack commercial vessels, which of course is a terrorist act in and of itself, or attack or at least try to strike U.S. military assets. So this could be increasing very quickly with the new administration.
So acknowledging the superpowers' competition, if you will, for dominance in the Horn of Africa, expanding our conversation a bit, what could be, we're seeing here, it's here in the Middle East when it comes to the Trump administration and this change of tune. What could be an outside of the box type of an approach when it comes to the American presence there?
So you'll see a lot with U.S. policymakers talking about the pivot from the Middle East and focus on the Indo-Pacific, and that's it's one thing to say that in policy circles in Washington, but the reality is, if you really intend to do more to counter Chinese and counter Russian influence, then you need to go where they are. And it's not just geographic, right? So if they're trying to build bases like China and Russia are in the Middle East, and at the same time the U.S. is pulling out of it, you're not actually counting Russia and China. You're ceding terrain, if you will. So the way to do this is to have long and enduring partnerships, which we do in the Middle East. We build up our capacity, which of course helps their own defense. And we give them a clear message that the United States understands that the Middle East is a strategic importance to the United States, and it's not going to change. So I think that's one of the first things that we could do. Hopefully the Trump administration will send that clear message.
Right, there's no geopolitics without geography, right? So before we let you go, Mr. Mulroy, when we're talking about this partnership between Sudan and Russia, would you say that Russia is trying to lean in further into Africa now after it, to an extent, lost Syria, its grip there?
Sure, and that did cause significant setbacks for Russians' strategic placement in the region. So Sudan would be a place. It obviously has a lot of issues going on now. It's one of the biggest humanitarian issues in the world, and they're trying to take advantage of it. And I think the United States should ensure that that doesn't happen by straight engagement and talking about this directly. That's what the United States needs to do, and I think you're right. That's why Russia is trying to take advantage of this situation.